Hi, everybody. This is S.J. Thomason with the Christian-apologist.com, but I will refer to myself also as the People's Apologist because G. Fujigo says I should do that. So I changed the motto. So anyway, here we go. We're going to talk a little bit about miracles. Now, do miracles still occur today? What do you think? We have evidence. We have some great testimony. So we know that Jesus turned water to wine. We know that that was the very first miracle that he did. And he was directed by the Queen Mother, his mother, Mother Mary, who also told him that they had no wine at the wedding. This is very symbolic. There were also a number of other miracles that Jesus did, such as walking on water and healing people who were blind and healing a lame person and bringing people back to life, brought Lazarus back to life. But do miracles still happen today? That's the big question. You judge for yourself. I'm going to show you a testimony from a friend of mine that just came in today. This is her first time sharing this testimony in public in a forum such as this. She's been interviewed by people like Craig Keener, who's made a book on miracles. And she's been a little bit shy about coming out on this because she doesn't want that backslash that people get sometimes, the backlash. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at this miracle, and you can decide what you think about it. Okay, so I'm just bringing up the miracle, and you make the decision. Just make sure I want to make sure my volume is on. Hold on one second. I didn't get the option to turn the volume on. Let me just unshare that and do it again. Okay, so share the screen. I got to make sure the volume is hitting on. Okay, share audio. There we go. Okay. So in case you're wondering whether or not miracles can occur, you'll see right here that Susan, my friend the nurse, did encounter a true miracle. Very impressive. And so take a listen.
But I always had an interest in astronomy.
Yeah.
And my dad and I even built a telescope when I was in my teens. And so like he used to talk about, matter and antimatter. I mean, I probably knew about that stuff when I was 4 years old. Quasars, when they first came out. I mean, black holes. He was up on, on the latest of everything. So, being in nursing, there's a lot of science involved with that. Of course, the Lord did throw in a miracle too. So if I wasn't convinced by science.
Actually, yeah, can you share that, Susan? I think that would be really valuable.
Okay, well, I haven't done it. I was stationed overseas in Germany in a Lance field artillery unit, and I was diagnosed with a non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And so that was in May of 82. And so I came back to the States, and well, let's just say I was treated at the Lakeside VA, which is closed now, and through Northwestern, which is across the street. And after 2 years, the cancer had spread to my, bones and liver, and they gave me 6 months to 2 years to live. But at the same time, I met a Christian nurse in Chicago, who's still my best friend. And since her husband died, I've been living with we have a house together. And so I did not want to, and they also wanted to take out my spleen for some reason at the same time. And I said, are you telling me you're going to give me major surgery and I have 6 months to 2 years to live? Forget it. That was going to cut into my drinking. I had become quite an alcoholic since my diagnosis. So actually my friend Linda had found me passed out in a public library. So I was really like at a low point when I met her. It turned out that I ended up in the hospice in Elsip, Illinois, and then Linda took me to Hebron, Indiana, which is how I ended up here in Indiana, and I started going to church. So that was for 2 years. So I met her in '84. So that was 2 years after my diagnosis. And by '86, I was on my deathbed. I mean, I could not get out of bed. And people were driving to Hebron and visiting me, and even missionaries and my pastors and everything. And then I had a dream that the Lord told me He was going to heal me, and I told Linda, who's a nurse, and she thought, oh yeah, the Lord's going to heal me. You know, when I die, I'm going to have my resurrection body or whatever. And I said, no, I said, he's going to heal me. And I have a Bible here. He gave me a few lines of verse, and I went and followed it, and I read it, and I said, this is confirmation. And 6 months later, I was chopping wood on her parents' farm. So,
wow.
Yeah, you know, I told you Craig Keener had looked into my story, and he had included me on. He's doing a new book, a popular level book on miracles. He came out with the 2-volume book on miracles, a very scholarly book, but I kind of chickened out at the last minute, and I told him I didn't want to be in the book, so because I have such a rare name, and I don't know. I really am shy, but so I was healed. From my deathbed, I got sick. I got well just day after day after day. And then, so then Linda said, well, I think you're going to have to either find a job or do something. And that was probably the scariest time of my life. I had gotten to the point where I was prepared to die. I was a Christian. I was ready to die, and now I had to worry about my future. So I ended up going into nursing because I asked my friend, "How much did you make an hour when you're working?" And I said, "Oh, I think I can do that." Also, I was taking pre-med classes in Chicago for 2 years when I was going through my treatments, just so I could understand what the doctors were saying. I know it's not very organized, but that's my testimony.
I love that. That's beautiful.
Yeah, that is so awesome. I wanted to ask you a question.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Yeah, so because I've often wondered in these cases, what do the doctors say about your recovery? How do they explain it?
I'm in remission.
Okay, so they say it's in remission, but they don't know how it happened in remission?
No, they say, you know, sometimes these things just happen.
I see. Okay. Yeah, but that is a beautiful testimony, though. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, thank you. I love that. That's amazing. And that's the first time I heard your full testimony. I know you've kind of alluded to miracles before, and we've spoken about other miracles like Barbara Kaminsky-Snyder. But
yeah, Barbara Kaminsky-Snyder, you know, my mother had moved to Wheaton when I was in the Army, and so when I came back, actually her house was right up on a hill overlooking Barbara Kaminsky's church. That's her maiden name. And she had come, when she was healed, she had come to the church I go to now and given her testimony. And my best friend's mother had a cassette tape of her testimony to give to me. And I listened to it over and over and over again. When I was sick, I was still in the hospice in Elsip. And I remember saying to Linda, boy, you know, she talked about church as being a family. I come from a very messed up family. And it just sounded so beautiful. And, you know, I don't want to go into her story, but her story was much more miraculous than mine, instantaneous. But so that's, and yeah.
Can I ask you about when you had that dream, how did Jesus appear to you? Or was it Jesus? Did you see Jesus?
No, I just woke up knowing and that I knew God just put this idea in my head that, that I just knew it was like a gift of faith, and it definitely appeared to me to be supernatural. And then when I read the verses, I just knew it. I just knew. How else do you explain that?
Do you remember which verses?
Yeah, you know what? Let me look. Let me get it. I can find it in my.
Okay, yeah, it's great.
Like,
see, Jesus appeared to me in a dream once, and people say, well, what did he look like? Well, he actually was probably, I found a picture on the internet where it looks just like what he looks like in my dream, where he was wearing, and sometimes I put it on Twitter, but he had a kind of a white robe on, and I saw him from this view, like I was right there, and I have this, that was a great dream. I mean, he's real. He is real, and he does change people. And he makes, it's like a slow process with me, slow process of changing me from one way to another way. But he's very patient and generous and loving. So,
amen. Have you studied at all NDEs, SJ? Have you looked into that? Like,
yeah.
Hopefully one day you can have a show on that. It's related to the miracles and whatnot, because the one that was stunning to me that sent chills up my spine are the Parnia studies.
What are they called? The Parnia?
Sam Parnia or Parnia.
Okay, no, I don't know that one.
Yes, he's a vascular surgeon, or he's some kind of heart doctor, a cardiologist. They try to revive people, obviously, when they die. And in a small percentage of the cases, people had experiences that could be validated by external, via external validation. And so it's fascinating to me because it's along this same topic. Ironically, I'm like William Lane Craig. I don't have any, like, even though I'm a Christian, been a Christian all my life, I don't have any of those types of encounters. Mine are more through reflection and seeing, oh, this is how God worked in my life and whatnot. So
yeah, he's always working. He's amazing. So Susan, did you get that verse?
Yes, I did.
I can't wait to hear it.
Okay, it's 2 Corinthians 8. I always have to look through. I can find it easy, open it up, but I never remember even what book it's in. It's for we would not, brethren, have you ignorant of our trouble, which came to us in Asia, that we were pressed out of measure, above strength, insomuch that we despaired even of life. But we had the sentence of death in ourselves, that we should not trust in ourselves, but in God which raiseth the dead, who delivered us from so great a death, and doth deliver, in whom we trust that he will yet deliver us. Ye also helping together by prayer for us, that for the gift bestowed upon us by the means of many persons, thanks may be given by many on our behalf. I had churches all over praying for me.
What text was that again? I'm sorry.
2 Corinthians 8.
It's beautiful.
What 2 Corinthians 8? What verses?
Through 11.
No.
And that was King James.
2 Corinthians 8, 1 through 11?
No, 2 Corinthians. Oh, sorry. 2 Corinthians 1, 8 through 11.
So take a look at that, take a consideration of it, and consider whether or not you believe that miracles still occur today. I certainly believe it. I think we have a lot of evidence. And the fact that Susan was on her deathbed, she was in hospice, the fact that she had pretty much given up on her life. She hadn't even planned anything. She hadn't planned any work because she thought that she wasn't going to be with us that much longer. And so she said that she was emaciated. At one point, she told me that also by direct message. She told me that she was in just terrible condition. And then she had the dream. and then her body slowly worked back. And I think that's a lot of evidence, and I think that gives a lot of hope. And I think even if you reflect on that verse that God gave her, 2 Corinthians 1, 8 through 11, you're going to find that Jesus is still working in our lives today. He's still busy giving people hope, and he's still giving people evidence. And so I hope you feel blessed. I hope that you felt this was a good message today. And God bless you all. Thank you so much for coming on. Please like and subscribe, and do come again. And this is Psalm 23, Apologetics, the people's apologist, according to G. Fujigo. So thank you so much. Bye-bye.